Good morning and welcome to Virginia Union University's Faculty Spotlight. We're in for a treat this morning. We have another faculty that we're going to get a chance to learn about and the great things that she is doing in and around our campus. Again, welcome to this morning's Faculty Spotlight. And we'd like to recognize that Dr. Terrell Strayhorn has made this wonderful opportunity for every Friday at 9 o'clock to welcome another faculty person to a spotlight so that we can glean a little bit more about those faculty who are here on our campus. And today we have Professor Pari Valad. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Pari Valad is an assistant professor of visual arts and chair of the Fine Arts Department here at Virginia Union. She received her Master of Fine Arts from Maryland Institute College of Art and her Bachelor of Fine Arts from School of Visual Arts. She has been in art education for over 10 years, and her background is in interdisciplinary studio art. Professor Valad is the project director for an Institute of Museum and Library Services, which is funded with Virginia Union's Museum of African Art. The project is a paid internship in collaboration with the Virginia Museum of History and Culture at Virginia Commonwealth University's Institute for Contemporary Art and the Valentine Museum that serves 8 students each academic year until 2023. Interns there focus on aspects of museum studies, from collection management, marketing, and curation. Her focus at our institution lies predominantly with mentorship and developing student artists to find gainful employment in the arts. There's a lot to unpack here. Let's get started. Welcome, Professor Valad, to today's Faculty Spotlight and allowing us to get a little peek into who you are and what you're all about as it relates to your professionalism of you being a professor, a faculty person here at Virginia Union. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your academic training, and your field of expertise.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Dr. Jackson. I'm really excited. So I have pretty much been in art my entire life. When I was 8 years old, I knew that I was going to be in the arts, and I was really fortunate to have my, family and especially my father really allow me to explore that from a young age. So in high school, I applied to probably 15 different undergraduates programs. Went to School of Visual Arts in New York, majoring initially in painting, but then ended up moving into 3D design and sculpture. So it was kind of like a new genres type of program that dealt with 3D modeling. Then I decided, well, I didn't really decide. I was kind of bribed to go to graduate school. I went when I was 20 years old. I applied to 10 programs to try to find the most funding. And I really wanted to stay in New York, but my dad was basically like, when I got the scholarship that I did for Maryland Institute College of Art, my dad was like, well, if you go, I'll help you get a car. You can move to Baltimore and leave New York. So I've never been actually more thankful for that bribe, because it really was his way of being like, just get it over with. And so in some aspects, it was really good that, I turned 21 basically in a graduate program to just kind of get it over with and have that experience. And that's kind of what led me into art education. I stayed in Baltimore and worked for some different nonprofits doing youth programming. And then I eventually moved back to Richmond and started teaching in Richmond City Public Schools. and getting involved with other art programming here. And then I ended up here at Virginia Union. My background in terms of my art practice or art experience is pretty broad. I've been painting in oil since I was 8 years old. So I have a very traditional fine arts background. But then as I started to go through higher education, I got really interested in design and video work and 3D modeling. So I kind of have a little bit of everything, which has been really great, just being an instructor and having kind of some knowledge in all of these different areas. But yeah, that's kind of my brief academic training and history. I have also had a lot of different experiences and kind of different career positions in the arts. I've worked as an artist assistant. I've worked in a gallery and been a gallery assistant. I've worked in art handling. So I've been a part of the kind of traditional New York art world, as well as the other side, working with organizations like Free Arts New York, which is like an after school art programming in New York City. So nonprofit and kind of like private gallery work, a little bit of experience everywhere, basically.
Mhm. Which all those things I think help you to round you out to be Pari Valad today, the
Oh,
2021 Pari Valad, based on all those things, all those ingredients. Wonderful. How wonderful. I had some questions around that, but before I do, I'm going to ask though, so tell the viewers, what are you teaching now at Virginia Union?
okay. So right now as chair, I'm not teaching in the same capacity as I was the last previous 2 years. But right now I'm really maintaining the overseeing of our students' internships and also some independent studies with students, some special topics courses. And right now I have 2 students that have basically come up with their own youth art programming and kind of their own concept for an organization and own presentation and basically all of the pieces that you need to start some type of community programming. And it's really cool. They actually gave their first presentation to Art 180, which is a local arts nonprofit. And I'm pretty sure one of the directors kind of teared up. That's how good their presentation was. I teared up a little bit as well when they showed me the presentation because I was super impressed. So I've been working a lot kind of one-on-one with the students, one with them managing their internships and kind of trying to find exactly what the students' goals are after they leave here and kind of hone in on those specific things. So that's what I'm doing right now. But previously, I pretty much taught majority of the visual arts courses from graphic design to painting to drawing. I haven't taught photography yet, but I will probably next semester, which I'm excited about. Um, but for the majority, my first few years here, we're really trying to boost up the graphic design and the kind of visual communication aspect of being in the arts. So my first year here, I kind of inherited this Mac lab in the Belgian building. And I renovated the entire lab. And for the past 2 years, we created it to be basically a student run space. So previously when we were in person, last year I think was the first year that we'd kept it open majority of 7 days a week. And we had, I think, 9 student lab technicians that were keeping the lab open basically Monday through Sunday, the entire week. We updated all of the computers. I took apart 2 of the computers and put in new power supplies and updated everything. So I really wanted to kind of boost the access to graphic design skills on campus through that lab. Now that we've been virtual, it's kind of shifted a little bit, but I'm super excited hopefully for us next year to be back on campus so we can have the students back working in the lab and, just learning new design skill sets. I think that I would say that's probably one of the most important things that I teach and instruct about, because regardless of your field, you will always need to have some of these kind of basic design and visual communication skills. And I think it's even more important now as we've, if anything this year, we've learned how much we have to rely on visual communication. So that's probably my favorite thing to teach, because I think it can reach, students that aren't just visual arts majors. And it's kind of nice because when we have some of these classes that are open to non-majors, and we get mass communication students and computer science students and marketing students, seeing how the visual art majors kind of like work with the other students in the other areas has been really nice. So that's probably my favorite thing to teach.
I think you talked about it a little, about the shift in the pedagogy because it's all remote. How has that challenged you and the students that you teach?
Well, I think it was really challenging in the beginning, right in the spring last year, because it was just kind of like happening so fast. And how do you convert all of your teaching practices that you were really hands-on in with the students working to figure out? I think that we've gotten a little bit better about it, and kind of learned how to utilize social media to be part of your instruction. I think the biggest challenge as we've now gone through this whole year is everyone's zoomed out. Everyone is kind of exhausted about being in this like virtual space where it's kind of meant to simulate like a real life interaction, but it doesn't really feel the same. And I've noticed that trying to find aspects of the virtual world and social media that students can kind of cling on to that feels less like watching a Zoom has been helpful. I think also it has been good for, I think, some classes, because I think they realize how much we have to rely on some of this type of stuff, and there kind of is no option. So I think there was a push that happened to one, gain more technology skills. I think when I think about the entire visual arts kind of class, all of the different classifications of students, I would say a majority of them, 50 to 65%, are really fine artists. They're in drawing, they're in 2D materials, sculpture. They're not really working with the digital space. So I think in a way this was good for them, because it kind of forced them to be able to think about this. And this is like a key aspect, having a virtual presence, a website, those types of things that when you come out of here, you absolutely have to have. So I think it's been good in some ways, but it's also been kind of just a challenge, because I think that it's just really hard. The switch just happened so fast. There was no time for adjustment. And I think kind of the standards have like adjusted itself. In the beginning of the spring, it was kind of just like, okay, everyone just do everything you can. And then we came back in the fall to, okay, this is how it's going to be. These are the expectations. This is how we're going to move forward. But also still kind of had to balance the huge adjustment that these students had to their lives and how they're, have learned these types of art practices, for the rest of their education. So it was challenging, but there's definitely, I'm hoping we go back into person, but I think that there's some aspects of my like teaching practices and methodologies that I will always continue after being forced into it. Hello? I'm not sure if I'm still on camera or if we lost Dr. Jackson. Hi. Hi, guys. Should I just continue? Should I wait? Hello. Okay, yeah, I think that she may have lost connection. Um, so I guess I'll just continue kind of on what I planned and based on the run of the show that they presented to me. Um, so one of the next questions they have is, uh, what attracted you to be a part of faculty at Virginia Union? Well, I'm a local Richmonder, and I will say one of the things that attracted me to VUU in reality was the campus. I was really enamored by the campus, and I really liked the architecture. I liked all of the limestone buildings. It just felt really magical and fun for me. Um, so that was, it is really, I think, kind of awkward to do this by yourself. So, so maybe I will wait instead of just trying to go along without them. Oh, I saw Miss. What are your best elements as a chair, chair and educator at VEU? I think my best elements would be um, working with the students one on one and really paying attention to any kind of information that they give me. I think having that one on one attention is really beneficial, especially in our program where, um, larger art programs have specification. If you want to be an illustrator, you go into an illustration program. If you want to be a graphic designer, you go into a graphic design program. I think one of the reasons why I'm really successful um, as a chair right now with our students, and I measure that success by like the end result after students graduate, whether or not they get into graduate school or, get a position that they really wanted, would be kind of working with those students to kind of identify where their focus is and just using that one-on-one mentorship. I think that because I have had a lot of different experiences in different aspects of the art field and different careers, I'm able to kind of help mentor and give some starting points to any student, whether or not they want to become a graphic designer or they want to go into art education. I think just being able to identify those things with the students and work with them one on one is probably the best quality I have, if that makes sense. I think they might be calling me. Hello. So I'm on the Zoom right now. Okay, well, I am just answering questions in the chat, so I guess I can finish that up. That's fine. No problem. No problem. All right. Thank you. Bye. So I've just been informed that there has been a internet blackout on campus and they are not sure that they will be able to return. So I'm going to try to answer some of these questions in the chat, and I really appreciate all of you guys for being here. Hi, Miss Joy Brown. Thank you for coming. But I think I saw the next question was, how has your ethnic background informed your art? So I'm Iranian. I was born in the US. Both of my parents, I guess technically they're political refugees. They left during the Iranian Revolution. And it has had a huge impact on my art. I would say all of the art that I was making in high school and a majority of the artwork that I was making in higher education and my bachelor's and master's degree had a lot to do with my identity. I felt really disconnected with kind of my Persian and Iranian culture because I was born in the US. And I think there also was this push to not really identify as being Iranian. I kind of, I was 11 years old when 9/11 happened. And I think that kind of just changed how I operated in the world and how, other family members that I've had. I've noticed some patterns with friends that I have that are, 10 years older than me and my cousins that are 10 years older than me that kind of had different experiences. But I used my art really to kind of look and research my own culture because I had this idea of growing up that like the Middle East was this specific place, but it really counteract my like family's experience in Iran. So I did a lot of artwork based on family portraits and photographs. As like a 13-year-old, I thought the Middle East like was, super Islamic. Everyone was covered up. Everyone had all of these religious things that they were observing constantly. Yet when I look at my family's photographs from like the 60s and 70s, it's like all of my aunts in bikinis at the beach and everything was very modernized. So I used my art as a way to kind of research and get into my cultural background and specifically my familial background. Oh, okay. Yeah, my parents are from Tehran. I was actually raised by my aunt and my dad. So my dad has 8 brothers and 3 sisters, so we have a huge family. I have about 52 cousins. Me and my younger brother, I think, are the only cousins that were born in the US, and we're also the only cousins that have terrible Farsi. So I'm in the process of getting better at Farsi. So Dr. Z, I might be able to communicate with you efficiently one day. Thank you, Dr. Jackson. I appreciate that. Okay, from when you started to do at VU, what is it going to look like 5 years from now? Well, I hope 5 years from now that we have way more resources. Last year, I wrote a grant for the museum to start a paid internship, which allowed us, one, to pay the students to kind of intern and have externship opportunities at the ICA, the VMHC, and the Valentine Museum, and also provided them with a lot of technology, which is a resource we know the students need to have more access to. So I'm hoping the next 5 years we have a super built up graphic design lab with lots of access to technology, and we can kind of begin to work more with other departments such as mass communications and marketing to really kind of enhance their programs as well. I'd love more collaboration on those aspects because I think visual arts and design is so connected to those fields. So I would love to see more technology presence on campus and more student opportunities. One of the reasons why I wrote this grant specifically is because I was finding kind of unpaid internship opportunities for students, and I didn't really it was difficult for a lot of students to be able to have kind of the time to be able to, participate in an unpaid internship. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to kind of secure more paid, internships and student opportunities that will really be able to take care of the full student, give them the technology, give them the payment, and just make these opportunities really accessible for them. I think that's the main focus and kind of charge that I have, is just trying to make certain fields and certain opportunities accessible to the students. How is African American art different from other American art? So African art is African art. I just believe that uh, there can be a difference and there can't be a difference. I think it depends on kind of the context of the work and maybe the artist's intentions. I know Black artists who make art that has, will always, I guess, be connected to their identity because they're making it, but might not necessarily be focused on that. I also would like to preface, I'm not an expert in African or African American art. I just got kind of involved with the museum to use it as a tool for our students. Great job. Art to life. Thank you, guys. I'm going to, I was really nervous about this, and now that I'm like by myself, it's like kind of made it better, but it's also a little weird. I really appreciate all of you guys coming, though. It really means a lot to me. I was super excited about this, and I just really appreciate that I get to be on a campus with such amazing students and fellow educators. It's been really a great experience for me here at VU. Thank you, guys. So because I do see some of my students, and the most preparation that I gave was for this last question, which is, what advice do you have for those considering majors, minors, or degrees in art? I always think that you need to have your options open with visual arts. It's a very competitive field, and taking every experience that you have, whether or not it is your kind of dream or end goal, will benefit you. I think that it's benefited me being able to work in different fields related to art, to give me kind of an idea of what is out there. Always document your work and know how to self-promote. Working in the arts, you really have to be able to present yourself, present your artwork, and you need to have that documentation to do it. So that's one of the hugest things, I think, would be just to make sure you have, you're focused on documenting and keeping up with a portfolio. Connecting with other artists and people that are doing what you're doing. Those connections are so important. And I think when you're in a higher education setting, it's a lot easier to make those connections. So when you are in college, make sure you pay attention and you kind of follow up on any leads that you have. They will help you throughout your entire career in life. And learn and keep up to date with technology, even if you're a fine artist. I think that is a very important aspect of being in the arts. And know that if you are trying to pursue a degree in the arts, that you should also have kind of other skill sets that you can kind of rely on. It's very difficult to be a studio artist and sell your artwork and kind of go into that field if that's what you wish. So when you are considering arts, consider kind of every option and figure out what the positions that are out there are, and try them, try to get internships and different opportunities so you can be able to kind of build your CV and just build your own brain full of, what type of stuff you can do in the arts. Okay, so have you thought about sponsoring an art day on campus to showcase students' work? Yes, when we were back in person, I think last year, I think we had about 4 art shows. We had 2 senior exhibitions, 1 group exhibition, and they kind of all take place on little, parts of campus, but I would love to have an art day. When we were back in person, I did a lot of kind of free and open events. That were open to all students. We did a lot of like kind of paint and sip type of things, and then displayed the artwork. But I would love to have just a full committed day to the arts where it had programming, we had exhibitions, we had um, student discussions and critiques happening. I think it would be really good. And thank you. All right, it is officially 9:30, so I'm gonna close out my faculty spotlight. Thank you guys so much for coming. I really appreciate the support. It was really nice to see a lot of familiar names in this chat as I was leading this myself. Oh, I see Clarence. Um, I love the artwork in the Henderson Center. Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful Friday. And if you are a student, good luck with the final days of the semester. You've made it through pandemic college year. So thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great Friday.